You've got mail.
All right, good evening. I'm Heather Thompson, the Executive Director of the Parke County Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank each one of you for coming this evening. Thank you to the candidates for taking the time to be here, and also thank you to each one of you for showing up. I now want to welcome our moderator, Dave Crooks.
Okay, thank you very much, Heather. I'm Dave Crooks with 104.9 WAXI and the fleet of DLC media radio stations. I had the privilege to serve 12 years in the Indiana General Assembly as a state representative, but that seems like a long time ago, 12 years ago, from 1996 to 2008. And I was the Democratic nominee in 2012 for U.S. Congress. That was a fun experience. Nothing like driving over 19 counties and raising money every day for a year and a half, but I only do that once, okay? We want to welcome you to the famous Ritz Theater tonight for the Meet Your Candidate event. And first of all, special thanks to Parke County Chamber of Commerce for putting this on. Thanks for the free soft drinks and the popcorn, courtesy of the Chamber. We're going to make this as fair as possible tonight. We want to give all the candidates a chance to introduce themselves and answer some questions. And we encourage you to fill out the note cards. Candy will be picking those up, right? Yep. If you want to ask a question, whether it's on a county issue for the local candidates or a state issue for our candidate for the legislature, feel free to wave, and Candy will pick up your cards, and those questions will be utilized tonight. We hope to have this wrapped up within an hour, so that way we won't be here all night. But I do want to thank all the candidates, first of all, for just putting yourself out there. It's not easy in this toxic environment that we're in to even run for political office. So how about a round of applause just for these folks for their willingness to serve the community. Thank you. Okay, so I really don't know everybody, so I'm just going to go down the list and also plug all the candidates that are on the ballot so you'll at least be informed. And we'll just do this by the order that it's on the sheet. These two gentlemen are not here tonight, but for Attorney General, there's Republican Todd Rokita and there's Democratic candidate Jonathan Weinzapfel. So neither one of those two are here tonight. They're lost, right? County Commissioner, we have two different candidates, it looks like, in District 1. The Republican is Dan R. Collum. Dan, is he here? No? Okay. So no Dan. And then how about Sutton Doty?
That's me. Yes.
That's you. Okay. Sutton, would you like to give us a 2-minute introduction? Go ahead and take the microphone.
All right, good evening. Can you hear me?
Talk close to that mic so they can hear you nice and loud.
All right, can you hear me? Yes, no, maybe so? Oh, there we go. How about that? Is that a little better? All right, good evening. My name is Sutton Doty. I'm running for Commissioner in District 1. I'm 33 years old. I'm happily married, and I'm a father of 3 young children. We've got a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. It's a busy household. I graduated from West Vigo High School and Indiana State University, and I currently work in two-way communications, so we do a lot of stuff with public safety. My wife and I moved to the county in 2012, and we settled in my family's 1864 farmhouse, which my grandparents had spent the previous 50 years living in. We're really proud of that. My family originally purchased that property clear back in 1855, so we've got kind of deep roots in the county. So everyone that's lived there has been a direct relative of mine. Fortunately, my job has introduced me to quite a few local agencies, Wabash Valley agencies, including highway departments, fire departments, sheriff's departments, health departments, just about every county agency that you can think of. And I've gotten to witness a lot of the challenges that they're facing and get used to what everyday operations for their organizations are like. So I think that it's kind of put me in a position where even if I may not have the answer to a problem that we face, I probably know somebody that I could give a call that would help me come up with a good solution. Biggest strengths that I have are a thirst for knowledge and a desire to help people. I really like to sit down and listen to people and what their concerns are. So if I don't answer something this evening for you, and you'd really like to know, feel free to contact me or catch me outside in the foyer there afterward. I'd be glad to talk. Goals that I have with the county include making local government more accessible to the rest of you. I'd really like to see some of the meetings moved to the evening so that working people can actually make it. Other things, obviously there's concerns with the roads, which I think that we need to address, and I have some ideas about what maybe is going on there. And another big concern seems to be rural broadband, so we need to look into ways that we can kind of promote growth in that area. So that's kind of where I'm at. If you have any questions, please ask. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Sutton Doty, he was a Democratic candidate for Parke County Commissioner, District Number 1. We've got 7 different people running for county council. Is this for 3 at-large seats, by the way, in the county? Okay, so we'll just go in order. Is J.B. Butler here? All right, J.B., Republican candidate, take the stage for your 2-minute introduction, sir. Or less, you don't have to go 2. But
My name's J.B. Butler, lifelong resident, running for county council at large, running for re-election. Lived here all my life, deep roots in the county. Been here, still care, always have, always will. Thank you.
And that was brief. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Karen S. Lehigh from Rockville, independent candidate for council at large. Karen.
This right side up might work.
You can lower that for you.
Lower your mic. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Good evening. My name is Karen Lehigh, and I'm running as the independent candidate for the Parke County Council at large. I've been a Parke County resident for over 50 years. I graduated from Rockville High School in 1979 and raised 3 boys who have graduated from Rockville as well. While politics is not in my background, being a servant and supporter to our community is. I have been educating myself, so if elected, I will have a better understanding on how the county is run. Here are a couple of reasons I am seeking office. Being fiscally conservative, I became concerned with how our tax dollars were being spent, so I did a little research. From a personal standpoint, I did not understand why our county roads were in such need of repair, considering our tax rate is the 6th highest in the state. The state of Indiana's tax burden is 3.23%. Our county tax is a whopping 2.65%. Now that is just a little over a half a percentage point difference. Tax rate in our neighboring Vermilion County is 1.5%. I find that to be terribly disturbing. As a single mom, I had to manage a very small budget, still raise 3 children. I had to be very creative at times and manage our budget, but sometimes that is what you need. And if anybody knows me, they know that's one of my strong suits. I'm very creative. And I would apply that to the position if elected. Secondly, I'm a big proponent of term limits. I feel that if it is good enough for the highest office in our land, it should be good enough for every elected office from the top down. When a lake is filled with no outlet, the water becomes stagnant. But if there's a fresh creek or spring feeding it with an outlet, it becomes refreshing. I believe it is the same way with politics. Old stagnant ideas need to be replaced by fresh new ideas. These are just a couple of reasons that I jumped into the political arena, and I hope to be part of a change. In closing, my outlook is focused on the future, with new and innovative ideas brought to the table. I love to serve, and I'm a fixer by nature, and it would be an absolute honor to receive your vote as I seek one of the county council seats in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. Well, I meant to remind everybody earlier, I know we all hate the mask, but you can have them off here in the theater, but they want you to make sure that when you do go to the lobby, that you do put them back on. Thanks for your cooperation. Our next candidate for county council at large, Cameron A. Martin, a Republican candidate from Rockville. You're on.
Everybody hear me? So, Cameron Martin, lived here my entire life. Graduated Rockville High School, graduated in 2007. 2008, I joined the Army National Guard and spent 6 years there, 8 years, and then transferred to the Army Reserve, where I finished out my career with 4 years, 12 altogether. Got out of the Army as a sergeant. Worked for DOC for Indiana Department of Corrections for 6 years. Was a sergeant when I left there. Worked for the Federal Bureau of Prisons for 3.5 years before I come back to Rockville to be a police officer. Serving my community is something that I've always been passionate about, and I would like to think that the way that I've lived my life to this point is something, it's pretty evident. I would like to think that people know me pretty well by now. I deal with large groups of people on a daily basis, and I've spent the last 10 years managing all kinds of people from all walks of life, all different kinds of socioeconomic backgrounds, good people and bad in some cases, and I would like to think that I could bring new and fresh ideas that we haven't necessarily seen before. Not to say that gentlemen that are currently in the position of county council, or, as councilmen, have done a bad job or a poor job. Just saying that it's time for my generation to step up to the plate. And 5 weeks down the road, I would really like the opportunity to do that for you, for the community. Thank you.
Okay, that's Cameron Mark from Rockville. Now, is Anthony J. McLean here? Nope. Okay, so that's a Democratic candidate from Rosedale for County Council at Large. How about Jerry D. Mullis of Rockville? All right, Jerry, you're on. Democratic candidate for Council at Large.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, obviously. My name is Jerry Mullis Jr. I'm running as a Democratic Parke County Council. I'm willing to work with anybody on the ticket. As a Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter to me. Like Cameron said, fresh ideas are what we need around here. I've grown up here in this area. I moved here when I was in 6th grade. I am now 33 years old. I've been on the Belmore Fire Department now for 14 years, currently serving the role as Assistant Chief. So I've volunteered around this community a long time and don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So I've seen a lot of the issues we have here in this county from that side of things, and I just think it's time for a change. Not saying that the same way they're doing a bad job, but there is some room for improvement, and I think our generation can do that. So I hope I get your guys' votes here come November, and if you have any questions that I can answer, I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Jerry. Jerry Mullis. Jerry Mullis Jr. is his name on the ballot. All right, John K. Pratt of Rockville. Are you here?
Yes.
John, Republican candidate for Council at Large. Take the stage.
Good evening. My name is John Pratt. I am seeking re-election to the Parke County Council at the at-large position. I'm a graduate of Rockville High School and the College of Agriculture from Purdue University. I farm in Adams and Union Townships. I currently serve as the president of the Parke County Council. My goal is to work closely with my fellow councilmen along with other elected officials to bring responsible, affordable government to Parke County. Accomplishments over the past 4 years include the leasing of 4 new road graders, increasing and modernizing our courthouse security measures, and supporting the broadband initiative to make Parke County broadband ready. My board service includes the Courthouse Security Committee and the Redevelopment Commission. My previous experiences include serving as president of the Parke County Fair Board, and I'm a former member of the Rockville School Board. Currently, I serve as president of the Board of Trustees of the Parke County RMC Multi-County Trust, Community Trust, and I'm a member of the Mount Moriah Cemetery Board. My family and I reside in Belmore, my wife Elise, and my son Wesley. It's been my privilege to serve the people of Parke County as a county councilman. I wish to continue to help make Parke County a better place to live and to work. Thank you very much.
And John K. Pratt. Barbara Swain, is she here? Okay, so she is a Democratic candidate for County Council at Large as well. So, County Recorder Mary Alice Gregg is unopposed. For County Treasurer, Kim Shorter is unopposed. For Governor, just so you'll know, Eric Holcomb, the incumbent Republican, and the Democratic candidate is Woodrow Myers, and the Libertarian is Donald Rainwater. We've got a whole slew of candidates for president, believe it or not, but I'm not going to go through them all. But you've got plenty of options if you don't like the top two. Not sure anyone can win electoral votes, though, may be the problem. Let's see, no school board members here tonight, right? Is that correct? Okay, so we're going to skip the school board for now. We do have another candidate that's here for state representative in District 42. It's Amy Burke Adams from Brazil. Amy?
Good evening. I wanted to thank you for coming out here this evening and participating. I appreciate that. And I wanted to thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this. My name is Amy Burke Adams, and I'm running for state representative in District 42. I'm running against the incumbent, Alan Morrison. I want to work for you. I want to help improve life for all Hoosiers in District 42. I'm a retired federal law enforcement officer from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I retired along with my husband in December of 2019. He's in the crowd with us tonight, Trey Adams, and he retired as well as a supervisory federal law enforcement officer. We've been married, I think, about 26 years. I'm proud to say that I was endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police. I also served as a school board member and for 10 years in Clay County. And I am proud to say that I was endorsed by the American Federation of Teachers of Indiana, which is a teachers union with about 4,500 members statewide. I was a former public high school teacher myself for 6 years. I am a union girl. I served as the executive board member of the union of AFL-CIO, Council of Prison Locals, for 5 years at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I'm honored to say that I've been endorsed by about 5 labor unions, from the laborers to the carpenters, plumbers and steam fitters, the electricians, the operating engineers, and the Central Wabash Valley Building and Trades Union. I'm humbled and honored to receive the endorsements I've received so far. What will I do if you vote for me and you elect me? I'm going to work very hard to serve you, to be your public servant, to work for you, to bring about the changes you want to see in Parke County and in Vermilion and parts of Clay and Vigo and a little bit of Warren and Fountain. And that's what 42 actually is comprised of. I'm one who listens to you and be accessible to you. I want to hear what you want, what your vision is, and work towards that. I've been privileged to be part of the Economic Redevelopment Commission in Clay County. And so I've made ties with the West Central Indiana Development Council. And I know that there are members here that are running and people in the community who also have those ties. And I want to be able to work together to bring the changes you guys see, the vision you have. I can tell you what I think, what I want, what I believe, what I plan. But again, ultimately, it's going to be what's best for the voters and what they want for their lives. My 3, in particular, legislative priorities are definitely the economy. And for Parke County, that's infrastructure, and that's rural broadband. That's better roads. That's bringing jobs in. Good paying jobs, stable jobs, jobs with benefits, jobs you can support a family with. I also want to support public education like I have demonstrated my entire life. I want to support the teachers in the classroom and make sure they have the resources they need to do their jobs. I want to ensure that our tax dollars are going towards public education and they're not going to private charter schools that are not held to the same accountability standard as our public schools. And I also want to help improve healthcare. I want to make it affordable. I want to make it accessible, especially in the rural areas. And that means prescriptions. I want to make sure that people can afford prescriptions and not have to cut pills in half, not have to do without, and to not have like an ambulance ride, the cost of an ambulance ride devastate a family financially because the cost of certain items aren't transparent. I want to call for transparency with healthcare costs as well. I want to support farmers because they're right now hurting and they need our support. And I've spoken to farmers in Parke and Vermilion and in Clay. We need to support them. And they have been there to feed us. We are the breadbasket of the world. We need to be there for them. So I'm a member of Farm Bureau, have been for a while. My husband and I have a small hobby farm that we operate with small livestock. But I was also raised in a farming family, so it's near and dear to my heart that we support our farmers.
We got to wrap you up, Amy.
Okay, and the last thing I would say is, for those of you who are concerned about gun rights, I'm a gun owner, and I am a member of the National Rifle Association. So I hope you keep this in mind. I want to work together. I want to build a team, regardless of anyone's political affiliation. I will be there for you. My cards are out front, and it has a phone number on the back. Call me, and I'll answer. I have a website. Amy for Indiana. Thank you for your time.
We gave Amy Allen's time too, because Representative Morrison didn't make it tonight. So, but Alan Morrison is the Republican candidate in District 42. And for congressional candidates, we just want to make a reference, since we've got some volunteers out in the lobby for the Thomasina Marcilli, the Democratic candidate. She's got some volunteers out working. The incumbent is Larry Bouchon, the Republican, and the Libertarian is James D. Rodenberger. Okay, I think we've got time for some questions. If you've got a question out in the audience, would you raise your hand, and Candy will come collect your question. We'd like to ask some of the candidates some questions tonight. And I had one submitted to me earlier, so I guess we'll zero in on the county council candidates. Some of you have talked about the need for change. Can you be a bit more specific about the need with maybe one or two priority examples on how that change might be accomplished? And we'll give each of the council candidates 1 minute, and we'll start on the other side of the stage with Mr. Butler. Would you like to answer that? Well, I guess that wouldn't be for you, though, would it? Who wants to answer this question, I guess? The challengers, I guess. Come on up here. And we'll give the incumbents a chance to respond, too. We want to make this as fair as possible, okay?
Would you repeat that question again?
Okay. So the question is, some of you have talked about the need for change. Can you be specific about that need with one or two priority examples and how that might be accomplished?
As far as change goes, public safety, being a police officer, I suppose I have a little bit better knowledge, and Jerry can attest to this. We're short-handed, as is a lot of other departments around the state, around the country for that matter. It's not just police departments, it's fire service, it's EMS. A lot of us put in a lot of long hours, a lot of long days, long weeks, months on end without vacation, sometimes years. We need to be doing a better job taking care of the people that take care of us on a daily basis, the ones that protect us. And I know it's easy for me to stand up here and say that as a first responder, but it's not just me in this fight, it's all of us. And if those pieces crumble, if those pieces aren't there, it doesn't really help us in the long run. Fire services, drastically underfunded, under-equipped to handle the problems that we have. And it comes down to pay and personnel too. We have to take care of everybody, and I frankly just haven't been seeing that.
Thank you. We went a little over, so I'm trying to keep it fair. I should have brought a bell. That would have been easier. But who wants to speak next regarding the question from the audience on specific examples of change that might be accomplished?
I believe one of the first things that I would change would be accessibility. I do not believe that the countyans are represented in a way when they have to jump through hoops to come to a county council or a county commissioners meeting, instead of just having them come with the issues that they're having. As a matter of fact, I don't believe that it should be so difficult to get a straight answer from the county council or the county commissioners on certain subjects. I mean, if you want to take it under advisement, that's great, but take it under advisement. You know, don't just ignore the people that you're serving. I mean, we are a servant. We are not the rulers of you. You do not hire us to rule over you. You hire us to serve you. And so I just believe a lot in the accessibility, like I think one of my colleagues mentioned about the time of when the meetings are. Frankly, there's not very many people that can attend a meeting in the middle of the day. Most of us have working jobs, and I think that needs to be addressed. I would use that as one of the first things that I addressed if elected. So, thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? And feel free to give your name each time, too, so.
So Jerry Mullis, and what Karen said and Cameron both, I agree with 100%. One thing I would like to touch on that Cameron kind of started to is county pay, not even just first responders, but our county pay. Our highway department, they're understaffed. They need better pay. You know, people get on and see that these jobs are posted places like the ambulance service, stuff like that. I witnessed our ambulance service get laughed at on Facebook because of the pay. Our pay is way underpaid. So if you want quality people to work for your county and to take care of you, you have to take care of them too. People can't work for nothing. So that is one thing I would like to see, is to try to raise pay for our county employees and also our first responders as well, to where they can actually do the job and not have to struggle to do the job. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Sutton, you want a shot at this question?
Sure. Of course, things are a little different. The county council gets to decide how to fund all these things, and we present them with an idea that they have to try and fund, right? So it's kind of our checks and balances, right? Things that I would like to try and take care of, just like the other newcomers here have said, we do have a problem with county pay. I'm concerned that I have been told that the highway is trying to hire, but I've listened to the radio, and I've read the Sentinel, and I've driven by the highway department, and I've checked the county website, and I've not seen a single job posted for the county highway. So they've got a problem that nobody knows that they're hiring, and even if they did, they may not be interested in the job because it doesn't pay very well. So I think that there's a lot of things that we need to change, and that's definitely one of them. Again, changing meeting times so that people can actually come. I don't think it's very easy to hold the council and the commissioners responsible if you can't show up to a meeting and voice your opinion. So I think that those are some of the biggest things that I'd like to change. I think if we can get you all more involved in what's going on, then a lot of the other problems are going to start working themselves out.
Thank you, Sutton.
Thanks.
JB or John, would you like to crack at this question regarding any changes you would pursue in the next 4 years if you're reelected?
Well, first I'd like to address a couple of things about what are we doing for public safety and the pay. So 2 years ago we instituted a longevity bonus, and basically that is for not only our merit deputies, but for our courthouse employees and all other employees, including highway, basically a bonus at every 5-year employment intervals. So that is a start to try. For instance, the sheriff deputies are awarded $2,000 additional dollars at their 5th-year anniversary, 10-year anniversary, and 15-year anniversary. So in this coming budget that we're getting ready to adopt, we're also going to give the deputies a stipend for any kind of training certificate that they have. So basically tactics, canine, that sort of thing. That has been introduced and will become part of the budget, and they will be able to earn stipends for their training, basically paying them for what they know and what they can do. Granted, our county employees are underpaid. I don't deny that at all, that we pay what you all can afford. I would like to pay more, We have to be very careful with our budget. Like you, the rest of you, we cannot overspend. We have only certain limited monies, and we can always do better at trying to spend more wisely, and we continue to work on that. They're correct, our county employees are underpaid, but those are some of the things that we are doing to try to address some of the issues that they have mentioned.
Thank you, sir. JB, would you like a crack at that one?
It's always the same story. We need to raise the pay, and we all know that. What we have to understand is that pie is so big, and if you add more to this piece, you have to take it away from someplace else. And I guess my question is, where do you want to take it away from? We've tried to keep the pay up as much as we can, but there's limited funds, and you say, well, we'll just raise their pay. Well, fine, where does that dollar come from? And so, well, we'll have to raise the taxes. You can't, the state mandates what your rate's going to be. We've got X number of dollars of assessed value. We have a budget of so many dollars that's limited by our growth quotient, and that is the pie. So you can't just automatically go out and say, well, we're going to give everybody a $5,000 raise. It's not there unless you take it away from somebody else. And I guess my question is, which office did you want to pull those funds out of to give it to somebody else? It's a give and take situation.
JB, since you're an incumbent, I've got a question that kind of fits in with this same topic. I'm just going to read it as it was presented to me and give us your best answer. Why does Parke County consistently rank as one of the lowest in the state for county employee compensation? Why have, and I assume when they say you, the council publicly balked at the idea of rewarding county employees for loyalty and longevity, evidenced by the comment made during a recent 2021 budget meeting that rewarding employee loyalty and longevity is simply a, quote, a reward for living another year, end quote?
It goes right back to what I just said. There are X number of dollars, and we can't control that. That's basically set. You've got an assessed value, you've got a budget, and we could grow 4.2% this year for 21, which is outstanding. 5 is the legal limit. And that's all we're going to get. That's all the state will let us have. So you can't just magically pull that money out of the air. The pie is so big, and it has to cover everybody. So if you take it, or if you give it to one individual, you have to take it away from somebody else. And I don't see anybody in this crowd that's up for cutting somebody else's pay to increase theirs. The pie's limited, and our hands are tied. We do the best we can with what we have, but that's where it goes.
Thanks, Mr. Butler. John, do you want to take an extra moment to answer the question regarding compensation for county employees?
Well, I think I addressed the longevity. We do have longevity pay, not only for the sheriff's deputies, but for the courthouse people every 5 years, so I won't rehash that. One thing I will say about this whole pay issue, you need to look just more than just the salary. There are benefits involved here. And you need to look and see, you need to look at the whole package. We offer a very nice health insurance plan for our employees. They pay 14% of the premium. The taxpayer, pays 86%. Most any place else that you've ever looked, there's 80-20. So that's a pretty nice benefit. We offer a health savings account. If you're on the family plan, the county awards you $2,300. That's your money to keep in a health savings account to help you with expenses for health care. If you're a single employee, you get $1,300 a year. So you need to look at the entire package when you're looking at these benefits. Benefits are a big portion of part of the pay. So just looking at the pay isn't quite the whole story.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other questions in the audience that you want to submit tonight? We've got one. Mark, feel free to, Candy, go collect that one. How about, we got a reporter here from the Sentinel, right? Would you like to ask any questions to the candidates tonight?
Sure.
All right, go for it.
I guess I would ask each candidate what they personally feel is the biggest issue, what could best improve life in Parke County for residents.
All right, let's start back. I'm not trying to skip you specifically, Amy, but if you want to take a stab at that, you're welcome to have a minute, or if not, we'll go to our local candidates.
Actually, I would...
You'll take it? Take a minute, but I will beep you at 1 minute. How's that? So we can move on down the line.
Actually, this can be specific to Parke County, but also to address what all the candidates had said. So it's somewhat general. And to sum this up in less than 1 minute now, I think we need to take a look at the economy, because I think that's on everyone's mind right now. And when you look at any county, state economy, what you want to do is you want to look at how is it that we can attract new businesses or create new jobs, small business building, so forth. And what we do is, the first thing is how accessible are your public officials, and how willing are they to work with you if you're going to build a business or move in. The second thing is do they have the roads? Do they have the sewage, the water, the infrastructure? And in our case, internet. Because everyone, hospitals, schools, businesses, everyone depends upon that. The next thing is, like what Mr. Martin said, is it a safe community? And if I invest in this community and I bring in X amount of millions of dollars to build a business, will my investment be secure? Will I have enough first responders, fire, so forth, police, security? And then, of course, they look at the schools. Will there be good schools for kids of administrators who may come in? Or how are the schools producing? Is that my time?
I got to cut you off.
Okay. So I think all of this weaves together is my point. They're not separate issues. And it's very important that we look at the whole picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Sorry.
Sutton, go for it. We'll try to give everybody at least a minute or a tad more.
Nancy, I think that what Amy just said is exactly what I said to you in a meeting earlier this week. To answer the question, I still think that probably the most important thing that we could do to improve life for Parke County is to get you more involved in your local government. And I just think, hands down, if you were able to come and give us your ideas, give us your complaints, whatever it is, we can't help you if we don't know what to do. And I don't think that we're in a position right now where we can go and get those things from our public servants.
Thank you, Sutton. Who wants to go next? I guess we'll just go right down the line here.
So one of the things that I think is one of the most important is figuring out how to better our roads. We need to figure out how to get these roads in better shape. It destroys vehicles, your guys' vehicles, public safety vehicles, all of our vehicles. We need to try to figure out a way to get those under better management to where, yes, we understand that roads are going to have issues every year, different roads, but if you get ahead of them eventually, then you can start maintaining them. We are nowhere close to maintaining our roads the way they are currently. We have to get ahead of it somehow, and I don't know what that answer is yet, but that's why I want to try to find everything out and help get that answer solved.
Okay, thank you. Continue on there.
Could you give me the question again? I'm sorry, I want to get a full question.
Sorry, the one thing that is you personally feel is most important for quality of life for Parke County residents.
Okay.
The one biggest.
The one biggest, well, I feel there are quite a few. But I would say that being fiscally conservative in your finances, I understand what Mr. Butler said, that, there's so much of the pie, but if you are taking part of that pie and putting it into something that just is not working, then that's where the new ideas and the new creation of innovative things that can be at least brought to the table. So in my opinion, I think it's just, out with the old, in with the new. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue on.
So I don't know that I can necessarily narrow it down to just one. I'm going to give you two. Accessibility, for the majority of people in here, I mean, some people are retired. I get that. You got some time on your hands. You're living life. You're doing things according to you. But for the bulk of the population here, we have jobs. And for a council meeting to be held at 9 a.m. on a Thursday, where are most people at 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning? They're at work. How are they able to have any skin in the game if they can't attend a meeting, if they can't call out the things that they see wrong? And that accessibility is something that we need to change. Even commissioners' meetings, 4 o'clock on a Monday, most people are on their way home from work. That's something that both of those things are something that we really need to look at changing, just to make the public servants more accessible to the community. And yeah, communicating. Being able to communicate what we're doing, when we're doing it, and how we're doing it to everybody ties in with the accessibility. So, yeah.
So I would say definitely the roads. I think, the roads are terrible. The road funding is $5.1 million a year. It is funded through gas tax based on the number of registered vehicles in this county. So we just recently did a blacktop project. We hired out for the first time a contractor, I believe it was Wabash Valley, and it's $100,000 a mile to asphalt a road with the hot mix that they so-called coke. So you can tell how little, with 740 miles of roads in this county, why that we struggle to maintain the roads. Unfortunately, it's a money issue. We are also contributing money from the income taxes that was referenced earlier to the highway to assist them. The other problem that we have that's coming up, we've been told by the state that revenues from the gas tax will only be 82% of they were in 2020. So we're going to try to plug that gap with the budget coming up by using reserve funds, but that will only last for a year, and then we hope that the gas tax will recover, at least we'll be back to even. So those are some of the challenges that we face. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Mr. Butler?
If you're going to get it down to one, it's going to be infrastructure. But I'm not going to limit their infrastructure to just roads. High-speed internet, that's part of its infrastructure as far as I'm concerned. But once again, like John said, we're up against the funding. People say, well, I paid my taxes. Why is my road in such bad shape? Because your road is not funded by your property taxes. It's funded by fuel tax. We haven't driven for 3 months because of COVID. Cars are getting better mileage, burning less fuel. We have less money. So, yes, I know you paid your taxes. I paid mine too. But the road funding is a totally separate thing, and that formula needs to be changed. I don't know how we're going to do it. It'll have to be done at the state. But the infrastructure, as roads, internet, high-speed rail, anything, all comes in one package. Thank you.
I've got a question here, and you're welcome to try to answer this, and maybe you kind of both did a little bit, but how can the quality of the county roads be improved, and how can the funding of county roads be increased? Do you see any other tools at your disposal to do that, sir?
We are currently putting quite a bit of the economic development money into the road fund. And a lot of people say, well, it's not really economic development. If you don't have an infrastructure, you're not going to get any economic development. Nobody's going to bring a plant in here if they can't get their product in and out. It's not going to happen. So the formula from the state is going to have to be changed. We can't do that on this level. So until we get more money of that, or more portion of that gas tax, we're struggling. And we do the best we can with what we have. Like John said, it's $100,000 a mile to blacktop. A $5 million budget doesn't go very far on 740 miles of roads. So
I think what Illinois raised theirs 15 cents recently or something. I noticed their prices are higher for gas all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's the way you get it. But the state has to do it. The state tells you how much road money you're going to have. Well, that's not up to us. We don't go to council meetings and say we're going to have a $6 million highway budget. No. The state says you will get this number of dollars. Now deal with it. So we have to do the best we can. And then we've gone to leasing. We've gone to different materials on the roads. We've gone to some contracting out, trying to do it. And believe it or not, they're better than they were, but they've just got a long ways to go.
John, do you want to add anything regarding roads?
I don't think so. I think I covered it.
Okay. Any other council candidates especially want to talk about road funding at this point? Amy, since you're running for the legislature, do you want to tackle that?
I think they covered it.
Okay. Here's the question. Should county income taxes be changed in either the rate or the distribution of the money received? Would anybody like to try to answer that one? No one wants to raise taxes, of course, which I get that, so.
Could you read it in?
The question is, should county income taxes be changed in either the rate or distribution of the money received? Give it a shot? Okay, feel free to.
One thing you have to remember about the rates and how they're distributed, we're beholden to the state of Indiana. Those things are limited by the legislature as to what we can do, what we can raise, how they're to be spent. The flexibility is just not there. Somebody made some comment that we're, I think, at 2.65%. I think is that what you said, 2.65. And yes, we could probably tweak those a little bit, but there's not much that we can do. I don't think anybody wants higher taxes, so I'm not going to suggest that at all. But we are limited what those funds can be used for, and we have to be very careful because we're, of course, audited by the state, and they certainly check on that. So that's the best I can answer that, I think.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to take a crack at this one? Should county income taxes be changed in either the rate or distribution of the money received? Anybody want to add any additional commentary to this, or we'll move on to the next question? All right, Sutton, go for it.
This is not really a question for me. This is for the council, but I do understand that the public safety portion of the tax could actually be increased. There used to be a cap at a certain percentage, and they've removed that cap, so funding could be rearranged a little bit to spend more of the tax money on public safety.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Actually, just listening to everybody, like I said, I think if you you have the budget, and I understand that you have certain restraints by the state, but there are, number one, there are things that you can do or to decrease what you're spending that money on. I mean, that's 2.65, that's huge in comparison to the states. We're at 6th highest in the state, and we have issues with our roads. I mean, for me, that's really, it's disturbing. And so I just think the money being managed in a better way, underneath the state's restraints, of course, but I just believe that with new ideas, I think you could get that done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Had a question that I wanted to make sure we have the definition for it before I ask it. Second Amendment sanctuaries, also known as a gun sanctuary, refers to states, counties, or localities in the U.S. that have adopted laws or resolutions to prohibit or impede the enforcement of certain gun control measures perceived as being disruptive to the Second Amendment, such as universal gun background checks, high-capacity magazine bans, assault weapons, red flag laws, and etc. So the question is, do you support making Parke County a Second Amendment sanctuary county? I don't want to have you guys go through a 1-minute answer. I guess raise your hand if you would be in favor of making this county a so-called Second Amendment sanctuary county.
Can you explain that one more time, what it means?
Yeah. Basically, according to Wikipedia, a Second Amendment sanctuary, also known as a gun sanctuary, refers to states, counties, or localities in the U.S. that have adopted laws or resolutions to prohibit or impede the enforcement of certain gun control measures perceived as a violative of the Second Amendment, such as, in other words, you wouldn't have more stringent gun control rules in this county compared to what already exists. And that'd be about the best way to explain it, I think. If you would be in favor of making the county a sanctuary county, raise your hand.
I don't know if I like the definition.
I understand. Well, I just had to ask the question since it was presented. So.
You're saying that our Second Amendment stays the same. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, but
yes.
you would do more to make, I guess, to make sure the county stays clearly no infringement on Second Amendment rights. Okay.
Can I clarify that I didn't raise my hand simply because it's a county issue, and I would never intrude upon what the county wants. But as far as gun control or gun ownership, I just want to reiterate, I have a weapon, I'm a gun owner, I'm a responsible gun owner, I'm a member of NRA, But again, I didn't.
You might as well go to the mic. The next
No,
question's
well,
for you.
No, I was going to say,
Seriously.
I didn't raise my hand simply because it's a Parke County issue and the voters in Parke County need to decide.
Okay. I do have a question for you, though.
Please.
A question regarding to state rep candidates. What legislative goals do you have to help compensate for lost income as a result of COVID-19 in counties like Parke, who have had to cancel festivals and events that would otherwise bring significant amounts of money into the community?
Well, my legislative goals would be what is happening right now, which is you have federal money that has been allocated and arrived at the state of Indiana, and I understand last week meetings were held to try to push more of that money into the state because there's a significant amount that was accepted by the state from the federal government under the CARES Act in about May that has not been distributed. So I think they're trying to find the route to distribute that, the way to do it, who gets it, even beyond what some entities have received. So one of my legislative goals would be, of course, it was related to the economy of Parke County and the state of Indiana, West Central, so forth, would be to make sure people have the funds available to them to continue their businesses, pay their bills, and maintain their prosperity in West Central Indiana. So one other thing I would like to mention is if I were to be fortunate enough to be elected in November, one of the first things I would do is meet with the local governments and ask them, what do you need and how can I help you? I think accessibility is really important, especially when you're talking about public officials. So.
Thank you, Amy. Last call for questions before I get ready to give them my own last question to wrap it up. Anybody in the audience want to send a question up? If you do, raise your hand quickly as we're getting near the end. Okay, here's how we're going to wrap this up then, since I don't see any hands in the audience. I'd like to give each of you a 1-minute close, and as you wrap up your call to action on why people should vote for you, one thing that I think should be kept in your mind as someone who's been a public official in the past, you always like to leave things a little bit better than when you got here, so to speak. So what is that one thing, once your term is over, if you're elected, that you would like to see happen, and make a last minute pitch for why they should vote for you? And we'll go back to the other end of the stage and let Mr. Butler go first if you'd like to have a final minute to wrap it up. How would you like to make it better, and why should they vote for you, sir?
I think we're getting ready to enter some really uncertain times. This is not over yet. It's going to get worse. 2021 is not as bad as we thought. 2022 is probably when it's going to hit. And I think this is a time for some experience and some leadership. I don't think this is a time to be experimenting. I think we're going to have to do the tried and true. And I think that's what we've done in the past. And we're in pretty good financial shape. I think we need to stay that way. And that's what I'd like to do for the county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. John?
I'm the short one. Just to say that it has been my privilege to serve on the county council, and I wish to continue that. You can be assured that all of your funds at the end of December are all in the black. The only debt that the Parke County has is when we worked on the dome of the roof and the dome of the courthouse. We still have debt payments to finish that up. What a beautiful building we have. The courthouse was in serious need of work. The infrastructure on the inside, which you really can't see, was in very poor shape. We were able to bring that back to life and have that building stand for many, many more generations. We have one of the 5th nicest courthouses in probably all the state of Indiana, the most ornate, and we were able to fix that and to have it for the next few generations. And you really ought to look at it as you drive by this evening, because it's easy to overlook because we see it all the time, but it's a beautiful building, and I look forward to answering any questions that you may have as the meeting's over, if it's not been fully answered. Thank you.
Thank you, John. John K. Pratt. Okay, next, Cameron Martin.
So, growing up, I was always told, be the change you wish to see in the world. And the way that I've lived my life for the last several years, I'm trying to do that. And moving forward with this, you know, win, lose, or draw, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here. This is my home. And I feel like it's the responsibility of all of us to do what we can to make our home better for future generations. You know, it's a concept that our founding fathers took to heart. You know, those that have the ability to take action have a responsibility to take action. And when we don't, are we doing the best we can for our future generations? Are we securing that good future that we want them to have? So, trying to be the change. Just looking for the opportunity. Thank you.
1 minute exactly, just so you'll know. Thank you, Cameron Martin. Jerry Mullis. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Karen Lehigh, you're next. I'm sorry. I look at my list instead of the...
No problem. That's fine. Yes, in closing, I would just like to say that, yes, you know, they keep the budget in the black, but in reality, there are things that can be done to not only keep the budget in the black, but get the things done that we need done. And as I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with having new ideas presented to the public for them to decide whether they are interested in, you know, change or not. But, you know, I'm a firm believer in working hard and serving, and that's exactly what I would do if elected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen Lehigh. Okay, now, Jerry, you get your turn. Jerry Mullis.
So what I would do is come in with fresh new ideas, along with, like the others have already said. I know that I don't have all the answers. I understand that, but I'm willing to learn. And that's what I've done throughout my career in the fire service. I started out as just a regular firefighter, just like everybody else does. But I've worked my way up because I just train and do other things. I put my time into protecting you people, and that's what I would try to do as a public servant to you now.
Thank you, sir. And then for County Commissioner, we have Sutton Doty back for his close.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming, and I'd like to thank the incumbents for coming. I appreciate you guys' service to our county. We mean no disrespect by running against you. We're just ready to try and make our own way in this. I'm kind of disappointed that my opponent didn't come, but aside from that, I just want to say that all of us are not under some delusion that this is going to be an easy battle. We just think that maybe we can bring some new ideas to the table, and we're willing to try really hard. And you know what? If you're not happy with this, in a few years you can vote us out. All right? Thanks.
Thank you, sir. And Amy Adams for State Representative.
For 21 years, I spent my career as a federal law enforcement officer protecting and serving my community. I have served also on school board, like I mentioned earlier, to ensure that our kids had a brighter future. I'm a dedicated public servant. I am retired, so it will be my full-time job working for you. I am skilled at building teams, moving forward making positive changes and moving forward in a good direction, and also managing a crisis situation. And if the last few months have shown us anything, we've had to change the way we think, and we have reevaluated what's important to us. And although Americans have a history of being strong and resilient and getting through this, it's going to take all of us now to get through this. And we will emerge better and stronger. If you elect me, I will be accessible to you. I will be accountable to you. I will work for you. Amy Burke Adams, State Representative, District 42. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Just a final note, vote. Go out and vote no matter who you support. And keep in mind, I can tell you this from experience, don't be afraid to reach out to your officials. Send a note, send a letter, an email. They do get noticed. I've seen fellow colleagues get 3 or 4 phone calls on a topic and it gets their attention. So don't think that your voice doesn't matter. Want to thank the Parke County Chamber of Commerce for putting on tonight's event. Folks, thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate your interest in our community. Have a safe evening and stay safe out there in this crazy year. Thank you.